Hi everybody, I'm Cristina, founder of Liberate. This is our mascots, Miss Piggy and Mr. Chew. Liberate is like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory for spirituality. You might wonder what the heck that is. And so basically, Liberate is a place of sheer magic, activating and reigniting that magic into you so that you can live your fullest potential and most fulfilled life. When you walk through the door, you're gonna see magic everywhere you look. You look down and you see a crystal floor made with over 10,000 pounds of crystals. You say that's a lot, but I know I laid them and had to do numerous trips to the crystal store to buy more and more crystals. There's all of these beautiful magical gemstones that are activating and creating healing from the beneath and the surface. You see the tree of life when you first walk in. You go upstairs and every room has its custom sacred geometry mural in it. And then you notice that each of the rooms are labeled with different names of deities or archangels from different traditions and religions from all over the world. This is Liberate. Liberate is a space of union. Liberate is a space of creativity. Liberate is a space of expansion. And we're here to help heal you, transform, and help you rediscover yourself. Hi, I want you to know that all of our amazing services are available remotely in the safety of your home. Whether that's getting an intuitive reading, an hypnotherapy session, and even an energy healing. And yes, they're just as effective remotely as they are in person. So please allow yourself to look up all of our practitioners, see the links below, or just call us to schedule an appointment. We're here for you. And I know that this is a challenging time for all of us, and we're gonna get through it together. Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the Podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness. Hi there, welcome to another episode of Liberate the Podcast. Today we get to bring one of my favorite people on here, Mumtaj, and she has been a part of the Liberate family for 10 years now and really is the embodiment of love and kindness and wants to talk to everybody today about really how do you embody love and kindness in your daily life, learning from tricks and techniques that she's used over the years, and she's also facilitates a love and kindness meditation the third Monday of every month over at Liberate Emporium. So welcome, Mumtaj.
Thank you.
And Mumtaj is also finishing up her master's degree to become a marriage family therapist as well. And so, Mumtaj, I want you to just share a little bit more about yourself and then why you chose the topic of loving kindness and what that exactly means.
Yes. We can start with my path, right? So like Cristina mentioned, I'm currently getting my master's in clinical psychology. And once you're in that field of psychology, there's so many things, so many layers, emotionally as well as mentally, right? And part of that is self-care. And leading into self-care is loving kindness, right? And how we have to give the self loving kindness as well as our fellow colleagues, as well as our fellow clients, because I'm currently in an internship where I work with adolescents. Yeah. And there's a lot of room for that. There's a lot of room for that,
And so how do you define loving kindness? Is this an action? Is this a feeling? Is this an expression? What is that exactly?
It is all of the above. It is all of the above. Basically, loving kindness is a love, to give and receive love and understanding that compassionately, aka kindness, right? And when we have both of that in the realm, especially within the heart realm, then we can allow that to radiate throughout our body. And when we radiate that throughout our body, others on our path can feel that, and when they feel that, then we can be in that bubble together, and it's basically unconditional love That's what it is.
So unconditional love. So being in that space of unconditional love. Now might be hard for a lot of people. Like,
yes.
Have a lot of times I find that many people might not even have experience with unconditional love. I mean, a good metaphor or example of that is the love that a pet may give its owner, right?
Very much so.
It's like, okay, you can yell at it, you can, have been gone all day, you can do whatever, and it just greets you at the door with so much love, forgives you instantaneously and says, I'm good.
Yes. Yes.
And so so are you kind of like saying, be like a dog to everybody?
Yeah, and I know for a fact we as human beings can be there. I know for a fact, because I'm the type where I fall in love with everyone, energetically, of course, because I can't help myself. Because everyone is different. They have their quirky personalities, their emotions. So I'm automatically drawn to them, and I automatically fall in love with them. Energetically speaking, of course.
Yeah.
Because of the practice that I have to give that love and kindness to myself in order to.
Which is a good point. I was going to just ask, they say in order. The outside world is a reflection of your internal state.
Very much so.
So I'm hearing, and that you're kind of alluding to, and I want to kind of elaborate more about, first and foremost, having that loving kindness towards yourself, or that unconditional love towards yourself.
And it does take practice. It is not easy.
Practice, and I'm guessing a lot of healing, right?
A lot of healing.
So many people have these. One, people don't even know sometimes who they are.
Truly.
Right? So how can you love and accept yourself if you're not really being the true vibration of yourself, right? And then two, there's so much judgment that goes on. Like, God, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not old enough, young enough, this enough, that enough, whatever the case may be. And people get hard on themselves, as a therapist that is stepping into the field, too. That you probably notice working with clients, especially like the adolescents, a lot of the negative self-talk. So what are some of the ways that people can start to find that love and compassion for themselves?
So I'll briefly insert my meditation, right? So there's 3 parts in there that we can start with, right? So the first one is to send love or loving kindness to someone we love, because that's easy love. That's easy connection, right? So for example, I can easily send love to you, right? I can easily bring your image to my mind and send love to you, right? And then the second part is to send love or loving kindness to someone we strongly dislike. I'd rather use strongly dislike than hate. Because you can feel the vibrations there. I strongly dislike them. I hate them.
Yeah.
Right? So then we present that person in our third eye and send love to them. And that's always difficult. So we always like to start with the easy person first. Who do we easily love? And then we start with that. And then we go to the person we strongly dislike. And then lastly, which is also difficult, is sending love to the self.
So it's almost like you're opening up that channel of kind of like tricking yourself. It's like starting with like, the easy, level on like a video game or something, and then you move up to the next level, then you move up to the next level. So it's like, okay, find where you can access that feeling naturally. And then while you have that access to that natural feeling, move that energy to someone you dislike, and then take that, and if you got those two down, you can move that energy to yourself.
Even for those individuals who feel that they are already in love with themselves, most of the time it's from a narcissistic point of view, not from a compassionate point of view.
Yeah.
So then we have to understand that as well.
Yeah, and most of the time the narcissistic point of view isn't real love, it's more insecurities looking for constant validation. So that's not necessarily, love or being in love with oneself, that's looking for validation.
And that is very important to know when that wave comes, when we're on that third part.
Yeah. Okay, so this meditation, this is an exercise that people can do at any time, you know.
Correct, yeah.
You know, kind of maybe when they're beating themselves up or doing something, they can stop and say, okay, I'm going to take a moment to send love to somebody I love. Take a moment to send love to somebody I dislike. And then I'm going to take a moment to send love to somebody that, to myself.
Right. And there's no time limit on that. They can be in those 3 realms for 10 minutes or longer. It just depends. So they can give their own time for that.
Yeah.
And their own patience when that loving wave comes through the body as well.
Okay. And then what about some of the other aspects of, okay, so more healing within oneself needs to happen too, right? You know, so like, but when you have people and you say, okay, here you're saying it's good to have loving kindness, pretty much unconditional love, and then there's this individual that just really annoys you, really just pushes your buttons, okay? Or maybe they have a belief system or behavior that is deemed as very toxic or quote unquote bad, right? Maybe they've, done some horrendous crime or whatever. How do you help somebody get into a space of having love and compassion and loving kindness towards somebody that annoys the heck out of them, or somebody that like they just cannot accept or feel that okayness with their behavior?
That's a good question, right? Since I know most of us, we are familiar with that type of energy. Wow, this person is annoying, this person is frustrating, right? So let's come back. Why are they annoying? Why are they frustrating? Is there something in me that's like them? That's like the base.
Yeah,
right?
Hit the nail on the head. Saying it to people.
That's the base, right? Because we do live in a society of judgment. We do live in a society of ego, right? But when we notice, oh, okay, they're annoying me because ... They are frustrating me because ... Then we can go back and reflect that on us. And if we kind of connect the dots, that constellation of the self, then we see them as, wow, no, I see you as a completely different person than what you're presented as.
Yeah.
Right?
See them as completely different and give some awareness to something that they might need to heal, right?
Truly.
That constellation of the self, I think that's a good way that you put it there. Because, yeah, so that, this is gold for people, right? You know, like everything is a reflection of
and everything is also energy as well.
Energy and reflection and vibration and all of that. And so like when you really think about it, I like what Mumtaj is saying here about what is this about me? Because, right, 3 people, 4 people could be sitting around and there's a scene going on with 2 people and they're fighting or they're being upset, and one person doesn't even care to notice. The other person, they think it's funny. The next person, they're triggered and they get angry by the event. And the other person, has some form of annoyance or is just like, shut up, kind of thing like that. But why is it 4 people will have 4 different responses for the same occurrence as they're just by standards of observing? Because each one is making it mean something different about their self.
Very much so. And that reminds me, there's this one example that I like to give people when we're on this topic, right? So we're all familiar with traffic, right? We're also familiar that lots of things can happen in traffic. Anxiety, frustration, honks, car accidents, right?
I like that. Honks.
Right? So why are most of us frustrated when we're in traffic? Why? Right? Are we trying to get somewhere? Or are we making the traffic get to us?
Yeah.
When we can just sit there in peace and just allow ourselves to even meditate within that time, or have some ambient music and have like, I don't know, just that time to be with ourself. because we already have that hectic energy surrounding us, it's affecting most of the people inside their car.
Yeah.
And I'm probably the only one where I love sitting in traffic. Truly. Because then I get to talk to...
Hopefully not after this podcast. Maybe people are like, okay, this is an exercise for me to find loving kindness and be at peace.
Right. Because it's the only time where I can be by myself and there's no one around me, minus traffic.
Yeah.
So how can I make the most out of the 20-minute or 30-minute I'm in traffic?
And I think taking that as a lesson for life in general, like if there's circumstances that are outside of our control, we can always have control of our internal state.
Very much so.
And so we can either choose to be annoyed and be frustrated and anxious and honk and add to our stress level, our cortisol levels, all of this in our system. Or, like you're saying, you just, you're still going to be stuck in traffic regardless. So, like, could you look forward to that time? Could you be enjoying that time? Could you listen to some ambient music or listen to a podcast? And just allowing yourself to make more of it. And so it's changing that perspective. And I think that this is what you're kind of talking about in a bigger sense, is how do you shift that perspective so that you can understand something better?
Yes.
And if you understand something better, you can have more compassion and kindness towards it. Or them, or the experience, or whatever it may be.
Right.
Okay. And so when somebody is identifying, let's go through an example. Okay. Person comes and they're just loud and obnoxious, and then they cut somebody in line and they're just being so entitled and they're blah blah blah, and you're triggered, right? And you're like, oh, the audacity, this person just cut me off, this person did this, this person's like talking super loud, not noticing that everybody's at a coffee shop trying to like do work, Okay, so take me through how you would shift that perspective and give that person loving kindness.
All right. So the first thing, again, it takes practice, is to be mindful of your reaction.
Okay.
Right? And when you're mindful, then we can go about, okay, I am not going to judge this person. This person can be having a hard day, or ... Non-assumption, if that's a word.
Okay.
And just sending them loving kindness from afar. I can see that you're having a hard day, and I can also see that you may be projecting things. And just... I'm sending you loving kindness. May you have a prosperous day. May you have an abundant day. And may this be the only obstacle that you have to deal with today.
Okay.
Right? So just...
So kind of like, if I'm hearing this right, trying to understand what may be going on inside of their realm that would cause them to feel that they need to act or behave or be in a certain way. And if you can have some understanding from their point of view,
exactly, you
might be able to not say that you would do it, but you might be able to understand it at least.
Right.
It's kind of like, I'm going to throw a very controversial one out there, very controversial one. But with all of the school shootings and the different things that are going on, and then oftentimes they find that the child or the person that went out and did the attack were massively suffering. We're going through horrible depression. Again, it doesn't make that action right.
Right.
But how do you send loving kindness to that soul that was so tormented that they felt that they needed to act out torment and torture towards others? Right? Is that,
Yes. No, you're right. Because another example would be those who are on the other side forgiving that individual.
Forgiving those on the other side, and also the whole, population, different projections, right? Because if everything's energy, energy is all felt, right?
Yes, felt, heard.
Oh,
that whole realm.
I mean, and that's why people can, people that get a lot of stuff talked about them or projected towards them, it literally, like, if you were looking at somebody's energetic aura in their field, it's like little, like, swords going into
little
it.
daggers.
Like ding, ding, ding. And it's like, how does that person, if they have this leakage of energy happening and they're literally being stabbed in the back on an energetic vibration, how are they healing from that? Right?
How can they evolve from that? Yeah.
It's like constantly breaking your leg and then getting a cast on, but the cast constantly getting pulled off, so it's like the leg can never set, so then they it's like anyway, it's going on a tangent.
It's okay. I mean, because we do live in this society of hardship, in this society of chaos, and we can follow that. Or we can be in our own sacred bubble and work on ourselves, so that way we can try our best to work and heal society, right? Because it all comes to each and every individual.
Yeah, they say you want to change the world, change yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about the state of the world today?
I know I don't dabble in politics, but energetically,
not on the politician ways, but like on the energetic and I don't know. For me, I find that it feels like more and more people are disliking theirself and having more judgment towards themselves instead of loving kindness. So I feel like this podcast is very time sensitive in the way that, from people suffering with depression on the rise, anxiety on the rise, suicide on the rise, all of these different types of conditions, and and then people are just living a disconnected self, right? And so I just wonder what from your perspective of seeing people, seeing the world, seeing this, why you're called to want to teach people loving kindness. What's going on from your perspective?
Oh my goodness. What's going on from my perspective? Because I'm an empath, I feel a lot, and something happened to me where it hit me. It's like, wow, first of all, I need to send myself that and practice loving kindness, and therefore share it with the community, share it with society, because loving kindness has impacted me greatly. It truly has. And of course, I share little tidbits to my colleagues or to my friends, and you can insert loving kindness with other things that you're doing, right? Like you can insert that while you're doing a walking meditation. You can insert that while you're taking a hike with a friend. And I can give you an example. This happened, I want to say, last month. I was going hiking with a friend of mine, and she's in the transitional period of her divorce.
Okay.
Right? And she's the type who lives in a box. But it's really cute, though. It's her cute little box, And I remember we're hiking, and she's like, my back hurts. Okay. May we pause? And I'm like, sure. So I told her, I was like, have you ever walked barefoot? She's like, no. She's like, no. So I was like, would you like to do an exercise right now where we walk barefoot, just this one path until we reach the peak? Do you see the peak? And she's like, yes. But I don't know if I can do that. Right? So I was like, it's okay. Right? So we both took off our shoes, and I told her, walk from here to here, because I know there's pebbles. We're going to start small. And as we're doing this, I want you to feel Mother Earth. I also want to feel how your body feels, and feel this love that's coming through. And she's like, okay. And then eventually we both walked together all the way to the peak. And she's like, I don't think I've ever experienced this nakedness before, and I don't think I've ever experienced this love for myself. Because as we're walking up together, I'm asking her how she feels. I'm also asking her to send love to her body from the ground up, and she has never experienced that before. And her backache went away, and she's like, it's as if we're starting our hike again.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's, do you want to share a little bit on the positive benefit of why it's good to sometimes walk barefoot? Because I'm sure, people are, curious, but
yes.
it's,
It's foremost grounding. It helps and eases the body in all ways, and sure, most of us would think, oh, it's gross because everyone's walking on here, it's dirty, da-da-da. Again, that goes back to energy. What you think, of course, you're going to feel. But if we think from, oh, wow, this feels amazing, or, oh, wow, I'm going to get all these benefits from walking this path all the way up to the peak, and then I can go ahead and put my shoes back on. It's okay. You have to give yourself that permission.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we forget. Oh, I don't think I can, or I can't, or yes, I can. It's all about giving yourself permission. And if you give yourself permission to love, then boy, will your heart realm open.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
And I like what you're saying about the way that you perceive something, right?
Mm-hmm,
so
very
if you
much so.
perceive it as dirty or bad or this or that, but there is some pretty hard scientific evidence that about if you go back into Eastern kind of philosophy, that your feet and let's look at foot reflexology, you have all of these different aspects of this was my foot, but this is my palm, but the different parts all correlate to different aspects within your body, right? So when you're walking barefoot, you're actually allowing pressure points to be pushed into your, because when your shoe's flat, what's pushing in those little points, nothing's pushing in those points. But if you like getting your feet rubbed, you're letting Mother Earth do it,
Exactly.
and then you're getting the energy being brought up.
And you don't even have to start out on a hiking path. You can start small by going to the park and being barefoot on the grass.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of work your way up from there. Yeah, no judgments.
Yeah, wherever and whatever works.
Exactly.
Okay, some other examples of manifesting or doing loving kindness, And maybe I would love to hear about you working with adolescents.
Yes.
And hearing where maybe some of their conflicts or problems are in one or two examples, and how you get them to, adopt that state of being in that loving kindness energy.
Yes. So when I work with my clients, I remember there was this one client of mine. She was going through a hard time with her friend. There was a miscommunication. And because, of course, high school is all about drama. So I remember she couldn't understand why her friend was not talking to her or why they were fighting. I don't remember. But I know she was in this state of confusion. So we sat down in a room together, and then we talked about it. And then I told her, I was like, have you ever written out these thoughts? Because we've talked about it together, but have you written out these thoughts? So that way you can visually see it. And as you're writing it out, also write out things you like about your friend or things you like about the friendship. Because then she's able to open up her heart chakra, her heart realm. I give her a couple of minutes to write, and all of a sudden she puts her pencil down, and then there was silence, and then she's like, I get it. And I was like, what are you getting? And she's like, it's all making sense because I'm seeing everything visually. And then with what you told me about writing down the positive aspects of the friend and of our friendship, it's making sense. This was all dumb in the first place. And there was a part of me where I wanted to cry because she got it. Yeah. She got it. It was just this idea that all came because of this channeling, because when we're stagnant, there's always other options to release that. Yeah. And I assisted her through writing on top of finding that love within the friendship.
So she found the love within the friendship, and she was able to forgive whatever the fight or the drama was.
Exactly. And to her, it was a dumb idea how it even started. You know? Because once we're in that emotion, we see it as something important. But when it's right in front of our face in words, it's no, this doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know?
And oftentimes, when we are in that emotion, we make these big deals, and we like, if you think about this, and I always like to do this as an exercise with people, like when they get really like upset about something, and it's like, if you fast forwarded 6 months or a year down the line, would you even remember what you were worried about or what you're upset about? And most of the time it's no.
Of course.
Like, you know, and so it's like in the big scheme of things, in the realm of your life, it's just worth ruining your day, ruining a friendship, ruining a relationship, ruining, you know, your energy, right? And when you could see the compassion for it, understand we are all growing and learning.
Yes, always.
Evolution involves time, process, and lots of mistakes.
Yes.
You know? And I'm sure you've done your fair share, I've done my fair share, they've done their fair share, and then getting to that point of knowing thyself and being okay with, if I make a mistake, it's okay that somebody else can make a mistake.
Very much so.
Because it's not that intention, right? Which is where
Exactly.
you get to that mindset, or what I'm hearing through this conversation is getting from that perspective of what's behind their energy, right? I don't think their energy is to make you suffer,
Right.
you know? I don't think anybody, even if somebody's like driving really fast, let's look at the car example, and they're beeping and they're this, their energy isn't to cause evilness towards you. It's like they're in their own hurry, or they're
Exactly.
upset and they just need you to move, or they want to get around because they want to get to where they're going. They're not intentionally trying to cause pain to you.
Right.
You know, not unless you cut them off and they're trying to
Right.
retaliate. you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And they happen to be on our path too. So it is up to us to receive it as, oh, they're after me, or no, they're on my path, but they're also gonna leave my path.
Yeah.
Right? So then it's just a quick couple of seconds or quick couple of minutes, and then they're out of the way. Because most of the time we work from an unconscious state.
Yeah.
Where we forget that we're projecting on this person, we forget we're blaming this person, ... Right? But when we come back, it's like, okay, I'm having a hard day. I'm gonna try my best to be mindful of what I'm saying or of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not causing harm to those who may come on my path.
Beautiful.
Right?
Being conscious and aware of you. And what are some other exercises for people to help them love themselves more besides the meditation? Is there any exercises or ideas that you have
I would say journaling. Because
Okay.
I'm a writer, so I'm always journaling. You know, because it goes back to seeing things visually. Because when we're kind of projecting our words or our images up in the mind, sometimes it gets chaotic. And sometimes we mix those words or symbols with other things, other past things, other things that we have regressed that may be mixed up, right? But if we patiently and consciously write out what's bothering us, then we're able to see it, and then we're able to change that perspective,
Yeah.
right?
Able to see it and change it and heal.
Very much so.
And it sounds like some of the other things, like being in nature, or
yes.
you know, taking time for yourself, and right?
Yeah. Because words are also energy, you know? And being mindful of the words and shifting the words, you know, and then we present those words in the most loving way, then we are able to grow. Because what we say, especially if it's positive, then shifts our body.
Yeah.
Right? That's why, going back, I preferred the words strongly disagree compared to hate.
Yeah, or
Right.
strongly dislike, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about our word choice. You know, because that can be another practice, like practicing your word choice throughout the day. You know, are you the type that's always spewing negative words, right? And if you are, being mindful and writing that down, or even throwing a quarter in the glass jar, right? And noticing what comes up.
Well, yeah, it goes back to like the Emoto experiment with words, right? You know,
Exactly.
like if anybody's seen those and the little flash freezing of water droplets that Emoto did for water, hate had this like horrible looking, it wasn't symmetric, like that, like love had this like beautiful, like perfect, like snowflake type of energy, and it was just like, it's like, what is that vibration of those words? Clearly just writing words on, or saying a word to a body of water can change its whole energy field.
Exactly.
Imagine what that's doing to you. We're 80% water every day.
Very much so.
You're saying that you love yourself? You're saying that you hate yourself? Are you saying that you hate other people?
Right.
But your body doesn't know the difference.
Exactly.
They say, I hate that person. Well, it just feels hate. Hate runs through your thing. I love that person, or I love myself, or I love this. It starts to radiate love through your body.
Does. And one can feel it. One can feel it, I guarantee you.
And so what do you think about the hope for shifting where we currently are in society?
Boy, shifting. I would say, again, just like sending loving kindness to the world, having the world in our prayers, having our worlds in our gratitude journal, if we do happen to write that. I am grateful for where I am, without adding, I am grateful in where I am, even though this world is da-da-da-da-da. I am grateful where I am. May the universe bless it as much as it can, especially in loving kindness, and may we start to evolve together. And love together, right? Because we can only do so much in this society, so much.
That's beautiful. Mommy, where can people find you?
People can find me at Liberate Emporium. And again, I do host my loving kindness meditation every third Monday of the month. So,
Well, thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Really
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mumtaj.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.
Hi. I want you to know that all of our amazing services are available remotely in the safety of your home. Whether that's getting an intuitive reading, an hypnotherapy session, and even an energy healing. And yes, they're just as effective remotely as they are in person. So please allow yourself to look up all of our practitioners, see the links below, or just call us to schedule an appointment. We're here for you. And I know that this is a challenging time for all of us, and we're going to get through it together.